So, this week we are talking about probability, and these are three new words we are going to be learning about as we learn about probability. So, the words are likely, unlikely, and equally likely. We're going to talk about what those three words mean. So, the word likely means that something will probably happen. Okay. So if we look at this bag here of objects and we have four red circles, one, two, three, four, and we have two green triangles, one, two, it is likely that we will pick a red circle out of the bag because there are more red circles. So, what will probably happen is if we were to pick out one of the objects, we will probably pick out a red circle because it is more likely to happen. More likely. Okay. Now, moving on to the next word, unlikely or less likely means that something probably won't happen. So we have the same shapes in the same bag. We have four red circles, one, two, three, four, and only two green triangles, one, two. So it is unlikely, it is less likely that we will pick a green triangle out of the bag because there are less green triangles than red circles. So we probably won't pick a green triangle because there are less of them than the red circles. That's what unlikely or less likely means. Now, this one is a little bit tricky. This is equally likely. So this means that all have the same chance of being picked, of winning. So, for example, if we have a bag, and in this bag we have different shapes, we have three red circles, one, two, three, and we have three green triangles, one, two, three. Now we have the same amount of red circles as we do the same amount of green circles. They both have the same amount, they both have three. So that means it is equally likely that I will pick a red circle and it is equally likely that I will pick a green triangle. They both have the same chance of being picked because there are both the same amount of triangles or circles in the bag. Now we can think of the same thing when we think of a coin. So we have a coin, we have heads and we have tails. And if I were to flip the coin, it is equally likely that I will get heads and it is equally likely that I will get tails. Both have the same chance of being flipped. Both have the same chance of winning because they both only have one, right? There's not two heads and one tail or two tails and one head. They both have one option, one chance of winning. So they both are equally likely to be picked. So now going to the work that we're doing this week for these words equally, less likely, more likely. Let's look at some questions together so you know exactly what to do. So it says pulling an oval is more likely than pulling a rectangle. So we're going to look at the two jars here and you are going to move this circle over on top of the jar that makes sense for the sentence. So the sentence says pulling an oval is more likely than pulling a rectangle. That means that there are probably more ovals than rectangles in the jar because you are more likely to pick an oval. So I think it's this jar Because looking at this jar, I am more likely to pick an oval than a rectangle because there are more ovals. And in this jar, I am not more likely to pick an oval than a rectangle because there are less ovals. So I'm going to move one of my circles and I'm going to put it over on this jar. So it looks like that. That is my answer. Now let's go over here and let's try another question over here. We'll try number 6. There is 1 out of 2 chances to pull out number 1 from the jar. This is kind of tricky. There is 1 out of 2 chances to pull out number 1 from the jar. That means that there is half the chance. It is equally likely that I will pick a 1 as it is equally likely that I'll pick a 2. So looking here, there isn't a 50-50 chance because there are more 2s. So they both aren't equally likely to get chosen. They don't have the same amount of chances to be picked. So I'm going to look over here. I have 1, 2, 3 2s and 1, 2, 3 1s. So that means that they are both equally likely to be picked. There is 1 out of 2 chances. So there is a 50-50 chance that I'll pick 1 and a 50-50 chance that I'll pick 2. So it is equally likely. So I'm going to take my circle and I'm going to put it over the jar. Now, this question. Rachel has 12 marbles in a bag. Half of them are blue and the rest of them are red. So that means half of them are blue and half of them are red. The chance of pulling out a red marble is, what do you think? Is it more likely that you'll pick a blue? Oh, sorry, more likely that you'll pick a red? Is it less likely that you'll pick a red? Is it the same? Is it equally likely that you'll pick a red as you would a blue? I want you to think about that, and you're gonna write your answer, you're gonna click here, and you're gonna type out your answer. Last thing for this is you're going to do a coin toss. You can pick any coin you want. It can be a nickel, a dime, a quarter, whatever you'd like. And you're gonna answer this question. Do you think each side of the coin has an equal chance of winning? Is it fair? Is it equally likely? You're going to type out your answer here. What you think. Is it fair? Does one side of the coin have a better chance of winning? Or do they both have the same amount of chance? So once you answer that question, you're going to go over here and you're actually going to flip the coin. And you're going to create a tally here. And you're going to write in the boxes here how many times you flipped a head, how many times you flipped a tail. And then you're going to answer these questions here by clicking in the boxes. Okay, I'm excited to see what you come up with. Please let me know if you cannot get into the coin toss game PowerPoint or the probability PowerPoint. Let me know and I will send you a picture of the worksheets, but you have to message me and let me know if you can't get in, and then I will send you the worksheets. Okay?